Hello, everybody. Because I don't get to have a bunch of children to talk to in person, I have recruited my own child, DeForest, to help me tell the story today. This is a story called Something on My Face by Karen Johnston. So, all of my mirrors are broken. And so I've asked my favorite son, DeForest, to tell me how I look. So how do I look, Unicorn?
You have something on your face.
But I'm an expert face washer. I couldn't possibly have something on my face. I'm going to get a second opinion. Hello, person with the beautiful purple hat. How do I look?
You have something on your face.
I don't like that answer. Nope. I'm getting a third opinion. Hello. How do I look?
You have something on your face.
Something on my face? But so does everyone. Why should I even bother if I have something on my face? I'm getting another opinion. Hello, Christmas tree. Do I have something on my face?
Yeah.
Something on my face, but I just checked my face before we started this video and it looked fine to me. I think your eyes are broken. Hello, astronaut. Is there something on my face?
Yeah.
There's something, but once a long time ago, I got an award for keeping a really clean face, and everybody knows I'm a clean face person. But still, there's something on my face?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask one more person. Or maybe a shark. Hello, shark. Is there something on my face?
Yes!
Well, I try to keep a clean face, but I imagine I could have gotten a little too excited about that peanut butter and jelly sandwich a while ago and had some of the jelly get on my face. Is that what you see? Do you see some jelly on my face?
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you for telling me. I guess I didn't wash my face as well as I thought I did. So, that's something I need to work on, at least about this, huh?
Yeah. We're gonna do the same time.
The next part, DeForest. I know. Did you get some of the jelly?
Yep.
Pretty good.
I did.
So which of my answers was the kindest? Was the most like how we try to be at people's church and in our family?
Sucky.
The shark one where I said I might be wrong and I might have something still to learn. Yeah, that's one of the challenges about being in a community or being in a family is that sometimes, even when we think we're doing our very best, please don't lick my face.
My jelly.
We'll get you some jelly in a minute. I want to finish telling the story. Even when we think we're doing our best, we might still mess up. And one of the best things about being a community like People's Church is that or St. Luke's, yep, that's where you also go. Good place too. Is we can tell each other and help each other learn and grow so we are more loving and more kind and do not walk around with jelly stuck on our face. So, DeForest, do you want to take a bow? Thank you for helping me tell this story so much. And thank you all for listening. I look forward to being able to tell a story and have a bunch of different kids be part of it, not just DeForest in a bunch of different hats. Thank you.
Hope you'll join us on this fun little ditty. It's called A Dazzling Bouquet. Mine is a church where everybody's welcome. I know it's true, 'cause I got through the door. We are a dazzling bouquet of every kind of flower. Jump in the face, we got space for more. Come here, all you 6-foot gladiolus. Come all you purple lilac through the door. We are a dazzling bouquet of every kind of flower. Jump in the basement, we've got space for more. Jump in the basement, we've got space for more.
Today we are going to use some of the practices from my grandmother's hands again. Racialized Trauma and the Pathways to Mending Our Hearts and Bodies by Resmaa Menakem. He talks about his grandmother and how she used to just innately rock and hum as ways to cope with the challenges she experienced in her life and move trauma through her body. So I invite you to do a few of these exercises with me today. Let us begin by taking some deep belly breaths with these words from Thich Nhat Hanh. Breathing in, I know I am breathing in, and breathing out, I know I am breathing out. Breathing in, my breath grows deep, and breathing out, my breath grows slow. Breathing in, I dwell in the present moment, and breathing out, I know that this is a wonderful moment. I invite you, if you wish, to place your hand on your belly to notice if your abdomen rises and falls with deep breaths as you invite some deep breaths. Focus your attention on the center of your belly behind your navel. Breathe in deeply and slowly, following your breath as it flows in and through your nose and down your throat, into and through your lungs as your abdomen rises, and back out again. Keep following it as it flows back in and out. As you do this, I invite you to notice what you feel in your body right now. Any sensations or perhaps pain or tightness. Just notice those with curiosity and note them with compassion. And now you may wish to move your hand. You can leave it on your belly or move it to your heart or place it on the back of your neck as you take a few more deep breaths and notice if that provides any calming or comfort to your nervous system this morning. Since sound is a way that can move trauma and stress through our bodies, I invite you to perhaps just exhale very loudly, or hum, tone, or maybe even buzz, letting your tongue rest gently behind the top row of your teeth, relaxing your jaw and allowing your mouth to hang open, breathing out slowly and firmly as you exhale, making a buzzing sound almost like a bee. Extend the buzz and the exhalation as strong as you can without strain or discomfort. Repeat this for several breaths. Experiment with different tones, volumes, and vibrations until you find what feels most comfortable for you. Notice how it feels in your body. And finally, I invite you to just invite a gentle rocking motion. Forward and backward, or side to side, whatever feels best for you. You can combine this with making a sound, a hum, or a buzz, or just by itself. And as you do this, I just invite you to notice your body. Notice again that any places of tightness or tension or pain or discomfort or lightness and ease, whatever sensations you experience, and just notice if there's a shift as you take these few minutes to breathe and settle your body in these ways. And as we come back to the present moment, may we just offer a silent nod of thanks and gratitude for our bodies and the ways that they serve us, and the miraculousness of all the systems that work in them. Blessed be. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole.
Within 2 weeks, the African-American poet Ross Gay is mistaken for both the African-American poet Terrence Hayes and the African-American poet Kyle Dargan, not one of whom looks anything like the others. By Ross Gay. If you think you know enough to say this poem is about good hair, I'll correct you and tell you it's about history, which is the blacksmith of our tongues, our eyes. Where you see misunderstanding, I see knuckles and teeth for sale in a storefront window. I see the waterlogged face of the 14-year-old boy, the bullet's imperceptible sizzle toward an unarmed man. And as you ask me to sign the book that is not mine, you gaze shifting between me and the author's photo, whispering, "But that's not you?" I do not feel sorry for you. No. I think only that when a man is a concept, he will tell you about the smell of smoke. He will tell you the distance between heartbreak and rage.
Bones by Lynn Ungar. You tell me I don't have a racist bone in my body, and I believe you. The pillars of your tibia and the delicate wing of your clavicle, the intricate jewelry of your feet, all are innocent in the creamy whiteness. Your brain is a different story. Your brain, like mine, is tribal from its prehistoric roots. Your brain, like mine, was grown in a laboratory of lies. Your brain, like mine, tells stories that are thrilling but unreliable. Your brain, like mine, is doing the best it can to make its way in a broken world. It is your muscle that scares me.
I asked members of the Dismantling Racism team at our church to share stories of their experiences with microaggressions. Here are two.
The night before Reverend Rachel asked me to put something together, someone asked me if I worked at their workplace. At first, they were certain it was me, but when I said it wasn't me, they said they saw someone who looked just like me. Often this happens when someone sees another butch lesbian, a woman who's more masculine than what's typical. And it reminded me of the kind of insensitive behavior in today's reading. I'm pretty sensitive and also a middle child. This is painful stuff. It reminds me of when I've been a part of a couple and that same person might say, "You look like sisters. Are you sisters?" And then have trouble knowing which one is Missy and which one is Heather. And I'm sure it's also uncomfortable for our son, who's proud of our family and painfully aware of how people can treat us. It feels like you don't belong or fit because you're different. This person is seeing past my identity, reminding me I'm outside of their idea of normal, wondering whether I'd be protected if I were threatened. The reason I've stayed in the church after being hurt by microaggressions, which sometimes happen at church, I was raised in a liberal faith, and so I want to hang on to the faith of my ancestry and take my power back that I feel has been stolen over the years. I need community and spiritual support, and I want to be a part of making things better.
Hello, my name is Lise and my pronouns are they and them. I want to share a story about when I made a mistake and performed a microaggression against my friend's partner. So I was talking with an old friend on Zoom who I had recently reconnected with, and they introduced me to their partner, Alan, who has cerebral palsy. We just met over Zoom, like you do these days, and the three of us talked for a bit, and I was uncomfortable and also really glad to meet him. I was making a really intentional effort to be kind and respectful. And then my toddler climbed into my lap and I was distracted. My attention was pulled away just for a second, and I started to speak more slowly and loudly. And it was just for about a half a second, half a sentence. Then I caught myself. I felt awful. All it took was a little distraction, and I fell into a behavior, a way of being disrespectful and microaggressive in the way that I was speaking. I felt terrible and also motivated to do better next time. And I hope by sharing this story, other folks can learn from my mistake too. Thanks.
Thank you, Missy, and thank you, Lise, for sharing those stories with us. So I invited you all earlier to think of a time that you felt warmly welcomed. And perhaps you were, watching the service unfold. So I invite you to do that again. The stories that come to my mind are the time that I went to visit a friend back when visiting a friend at their house was a routine thing that we would do. And my friend is Muslim, and part of her religious practice is abstaining from alcohol. But before I came over, she had gone to the trouble of buying some beer to have in the fridge because she knew that sometimes I drink beer. It was small, but I felt seen and cared for. My friend had thought about our differences and had gone out of her way to make sure I would be comfortable. I also think of the place where I get my car repaired. The people who work there always explain what's happening with my car and answer my questions in a way that isn't condescending. If you've been a woman with a broken car, I think you know what I'm pointing at. And at this place, they don't try to upsell me. They treat me with respect. And there are comfortable chairs and usually some pretty delicious snacks in the waiting room. I feel respected by them, and it isn't the closest place, but it's worth the extra effort to be treated well. A couple of you took time during this service to share stories in the chat about stories of welcome. So Mary Montgomery Clifford shared, in 1980, I was part of a team that started a bilingual Spanish-English newspaper on the northwest side of Chicago. Our mission was to build bridges between the English-speaking and reading and the Spanish-speaking and reading members of the community. I became very close to Estrella Tudela, one of the leaders of the Puerto Rican community. I felt so welcomed because she always introduced me this way. This is Mary, but we call her Maria. Rochelle Habeck Hunt shared the way Reverend Jocelyn Mason welcomes me and all so joyously and wholeheartedly when I come to the Isaac Anti-Racism Task Force meetings. It opens my heart and lets me relax into the group and the work with a feeling of belonging. These are powerful stories. I like to imagine a world, a beloved community where that sort of welcome and hospitality is just normal. I think that's what we aim for when we set our mission as being a beloved community that embraces and serves our diverse world. And we all have those moments when we do not feel that sort of hospitality, when we feel excluded, perhaps even before anyone knows us, and often because of some piece of our identity. I think of all the times a new acquaintance, upon learning that I'm a clergy person, has responded with words like, "So your husband is a minister too? It must be so nice to work together." Or, "You're the minister for the children? That's really sweet." Because their brain just didn't have room for me as a woman, as a solo minister at a congregation. I think of a time I was with a large group of clergy, majority older than me, but of people of various ages, and a speaker said, "We all remember the day President Kennedy was shot," and then told a story about what that was like for her. I don't remember the assassination. It happened before I was born. And in that moment, I made some bewildered eye contact with a few other folks my age or younger, wondering if the speaker, who's someone I respect and care for, didn't realize that there were people too young to remember in that gathering, or didn't care or exactly what was going on. And I felt invisible. I imagine that most of us have stories like these, where we felt lines that divided us and them, that kept us unwelcome, and that many of these things have been done unconsciously, but still leave us feeling outside of a community. All of the ways that people communicate that we are different from what they expect, or they don't see us in our fullness of our humanity. Even when it's unconscious, it hurts. I have no doubt that my colleague, when she pulled together her reflection that day, didn't mean to make me feel invisible. Or I know she didn't, that wasn't her goal when she told that story or when she told it in that way. But our intentions and our impact often don't match. And these moments cut deeper when they emphasize the ways that we are already more marginal, that we are already on the outside, our identities that are lower on the hierarchies that our society enforces. Ross Gay describes this so well in the poem that Susan read earlier. Within 2 weeks, he was mistaken for 2 other Black male poets who don't look like him. And he experiences those moments as an erasure of his individuality and a more mild continuation of the racial terror that has been part of our country for generations. The word for these moments is microaggression. As I said earlier, a definition for this from Daryl Wing Sue is the everyday verbal, nonverbal, and environmental slights, snubs, or insults, whether intentional or unintentional, that communicate hostile, derogatory, or negative messages to persons based solely on their marginalized group membership. Members of the Dismantling Racism team shared with you some microaggressions that they have both given and received. And here are a few more examples. Asking someone, especially someone of color, where they are really from. Locking doors or holding a purse closer when passing a Black man on the street. Complimenting someone's ability to speak English when you don't know enough of their story to know if it's their first language or not. Telling a trans person that they don't look trans as though that's a compliment, or asking questions about their genitals. I could keep going. There are lots of these. I'm sure you've already started cataloging some of the ones you know. And what's true is that we all both commit and receive microaggressions. I try to be careful and hospitable with my language, and I know I mess this up. We all do, often, unfortunately. Our brain has been grown this way. The UU religious educator and poet Lynn Unger puts it beautifully when she writes, "Your brain, like mine, is tribal from its prehistoric roots. Your brain, like mine, was grown in a laboratory of lies. Your brain, like mine, tells stories that are thrilling but unreliable. Your brain, like mine, is doing the best it can to make its way in a broken world." We are all trying to make our way in a broken world. We are all messing up more often than we'd like. We all walk around with the metaphorical grape jelly on our faces. And hopefully, at least most of the time, we have the humility to recognize it when somebody points it out. Perhaps you've identified some times that you've given voice or made real with your body a microaggression. In preparing this service this week, I thought of quite a few. And so if that's where your head and heart are right now, know that you're not alone. If you feel bad, that's okay. And I don't want you to be overwhelmed by that feeling. If there's, I wish we had a way to calibrate emotions, but if we did, I would tell you to feel it, feel that discomfort or regret just enough to make it a motivator to do something different. Not so much that it tips you into guilt or shame or anything like that. We just want recognition, the sort of recognition that inspires us to do better. Saying something that hurt someone else doesn't make you an irredeemable failure. It just means that you're human. Welcome to the club that let all of us through the door. If there is a particular moment that you're feeling remorse about, perhaps there's a way to make amends. Maybe an apology is needed, or maybe a living amends of some sort, a commitment to learn more and act differently, a plan to donate time or money or support to the community hurt by your words. So we all mess this up, as we mess up so many things in our lives, and we can all do better. So following the service today, there'll be a workshop about how we can start the work of rewiring our brains to be better and cause each other less pain, and how we can intervene when we witness a microaggression. There are many reasons why I am a manuscript preacher, rather than someone who preaches from an outline or extemporaneously. But one of the main reasons is I don't trust my brain not to mess this up, especially when I'm nervous. And some of it's about maybe forgetting whole points that I want to make, but it's also, I live with the fear that I will have a moment like the one Lise told us about. I fear that distraction or nerves might lead me astray from my values and into the patterns and ways of speaking that are so prevalent. And the power that you give me to speak from your pulpit, whether the real one behind me or here on Zoom, is too precious to be careless with. So I write my sermons, and then I reread them several times in part to make sure my words are well chosen, that my metaphors don't equate disability with lack or darkness with badness, that I'm not using phrases like men and women that leave out the folks among us who aren't at those places on the gender spectrum. That when I say we, it includes everyone in our congregation and leaves no one outside. And if I'm really speaking just to or for some segment of our congregation, I make sure I name that clearly. Sometimes I still make mistakes, and I'm so grateful for those of you willing to tell me when I've smeared jelly on my face, when my words and my values don't match. And noticing all of these microaggressions that are in my first drafts both makes me feel really grateful for the chance to revise, because you all and we all deserve tremendous care. But it also helps me recognize the ways that these things are still in my brain, and trying to be more aware when I'm not speaking from something that I have pored over and studied. For me, this isn't about making something off limits or some sort of censorship. It's really about being exquisitely careful not to add to any of the pain that so many of us bear through this world. To do what I can to make this church be the dazzling bouquet, the welcome table, the beloved community that we aspire to be. So I know that it is very rare that we get to bring a carefully prepared manuscript into a conversation. To have that level of care and attention to make sure the words that come out of our mouths are not hurtful. Most of the time, we are doing our imperfect best. And I hope we can all be gracious when the moment comes when someone tells us we have messed up. That's something I aspire to as well, that we can react with humility when a shark tells us that there's grape jelly dripping from our nose, or whatever the case may be. This moment, when many of us are having less social interaction with others, it can feel like a strange time to focus on microaggressions. But I think it's also a good time. The less social connection that this time has brought many of us might allow us to approach the conversations we are having with more mindfulness and awareness. Though microaggressions often occur upon first meeting, as Lisa's example shows, they can happen at any point in a relationship. And as their example also reminds us, mindfulness is a key to changing our behavior. Holding an awareness of someone's identities and an awareness of the unreliable stories our brain might tell us about them, and then working to not give voice to those stories. Most of us don't get the chance to pre-write our conversations, but with care and thought, our words can cause less pain. So, and as I close, I want to offer you an image, one that our youth has taught me and is one of my favorite images for how we can be as a community. The phrase is, be a croissant, not a donut. This is a metaphor for creating community, and part of the covenant in some of our youth classes, one of the promises they make to one another. I've shared it with you all before, but it's worth repeating. So, the donuts that we're thinking of in this metaphor are the round ones. There is no way in. They are a circle walled off from others. That is one way of forming community, but not a good way, not the way we try to be at People's Church. The closed circle is the path of walls and suspicion, path of microaggressions and hurt, path of stagnation without evolution. The shape of a croissant, which is something like this, is different. The circle is not closed. And by promising to be croissants, our youth are promising not to be closed off, but forever poised in a gesture of welcome, with open hands and open hearts and open minds, willing to do the hard work that is hospitality. So let us follow their example. None of this is easy. It takes tremendous care and thought and the willingness to mess up and learn and try again, and then probably mess up again and again and again and keep learning. And this is part of the work that we are called to do. This is one of the paths toward beloved community. So may we be croissants and not donuts. May we try as best we can not to hurt each other. May we become a dazzling bouquet, a welcome table, and a beloved community. May it be so. May we make it so. And amen.
We're gonna sit at the welcome table. We're gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days. Hallelujah. We're gonna sit at the welcome table. Gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days. All kinds of people around that table. All kinds of people around that table one of these days. Hallelujah. All kinds of people around that table. Gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days. No fancy style at the welcome table. No fancy style at the welcome table one of these days. Hallelujah. No fancy style at the welcome table. Gonna sit at the welcome table one of these days.
So, dear ones, may we care for all of those we encounter and try not to cause any more pain than is already here. And may our care extend to ourselves for all of the times that we fail to make real our highest ideals and know that we can keep trying and every effort matters. So go in peace and go in love, unless you are staying for our workshop or for small group conversation.